Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to a little bonus content. We had so much fun making our regular show for you all week. We figured why not a little for your weekend as well? And we have some mailbag questions for you. Part one of a mailbag. No idea when we'll do part two because other things have happened that we're going to talk about as well. But here it is today. We have a trio of questions that the three of us are going to answer. Let's just get right into it, guys. From Kaiser Soze, which flyer do you predict will make the biggest jump in production next season? I feel like there's a very easy answer to this question. I'll lead it off. I'm going to go in a different direction. To cross my fingers part of it. I'm going to say it's Jamie Drysdale. Assuming he's the power play 1 point man. I'm going to say it's Drysdale or whoever is that guy at the top of power play 1. We just talked on the main show, the Flyers. They have a new power play coach. They have something new that's going to happen, and God knows it can't possibly get worse. And they need someone to grab a hold of that spot at the top of the power play. I got to assume Jamie Drysdale's getting first crack at it. He's the most likely to be good at it, I guess. Maybe Emil Andre, but who knows if he's even going to be here to start. So yeah. I'm going to say Drysdale is my guy. What say the two of you?
I'll go next, just in case Charlie had the same thought as me, and then that way it's not like I'm stealing Charlie's thoughts again. I'm going to go Tyson Forster. I wanted him to take a bigger jump last season, and I mean, I'm probably putting too much into how he performed at Worlds, but like, I don't know, I just get like the feeling that he's going to pop off, and it'll be really cool if he does.
He's going to make us regret that short-term contract.
Probably. I mean, like, honestly, like, that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, great. Pay good players. It's fine with me.
I am shocked that you guys left me Matvei Michkov. I went into this fully because I had another player lined up because I was fully expecting that I was never going to be able to have to get to be the one who said Matvei Michkov.
That's the easy answer.
But nobody picked Matvei Michkov, so I'm picking Matvei Michkov. 63 points last year. I am of the belief that
100.
If Michkov, and again, this is on him, if he has a monster summer, he works out like crazy on an NHL weight program, treats his body well, eats right, just goes crazy in the gym, and gets himself into what I would consider to be NHL shape, because I don't think he was in NHL shape last year. I don't think he was in terrible shape, but I don't think he was fully ready for the physical demands of an 82-game season. If he kills it this summer, I am expecting him to easily clear a point per game pace, play in all the games, and maybe even approach 90 points. I think he could have a monster year. One dark horse, though, as a potential big jumper in production, the guy who I was expecting to say, if one of you guys took Matvei Michkov, why not Sean Couturier? Why not Sean Couturier playing as Michkov's center, playing like he did in the final month of the season with no John Tortorella as his head coach. Maybe with Rick Tocchet having the team play a little bit more dump and chase, which probably fits his style better, at least at this stage of his career. It would not shock me if we see a Sean Couturier score 25 goals, 60 points next year, and that'd be a pretty big jump.
That would be a hell of a jump. I like that answer. But I am glad that you are the one who said Michkov, Charlie, simply because listen, I think he's going to have 100 points. I think he's going to be the 100. Man. I think he's the next. I think he's better than McDavid, but like Charlie, typically the measured one of the three of us, but it was like late in the season, maybe near the end of the season. We were just having a conversation off the air about what Michkov could be. And Charlie just goes, I don't see a reason he couldn't have 80 or 90 next year.
Yeah.
And listen, if you go from 63 to over a point a game, that is, I can't imagine anyone else has a 30-point jump in production.
That would be wild.
So he'd probably run away with it if that's the case. But Charlie, there's a percent chance of this, percent chance of that kind of guy, because he's smart. He thinks in math. I am more optimistic about Matvei Michkov in his sophomore season simply because I think that's Charlie's real opinion. I don't think he's just like saying that for fun. He typically doesn't appease me with his other opinions, so why would he now?
Never.
It's typically like, Bill, that's stupid. We're not even going to talk about that. But the fact that you are so bullish on Michkov makes me even more so, Chuck.
Well, I need one of you actually to teach me how to do sports betting so that I can put like $5 on a Matvei Michkov 100-point season, because I think it's happening.
You just download that BetParks app and it takes care of everything for you.
Right.
Let's get to the next question here from one of our regular mailbag contributors, Paul, with the great ideas.
Oh, he do be having great ideas.
Always a fun.
Always great ideas from Paul.
So he says, going alongside the Robertson delusion, how would his game fit stylistically alongside Michkov? Same with Marner. Screw it. I'm living in Fantasyland. Which winger who isn't, like McDavid, elite tier, kind of gettable, would be the dream fit beside Mish? Let's start with Robertson. Like, looking at gettable, high end, but maybe not, superstar, household name left wingers, I feel like he's almost the perfect fit.
Do you?
I mean, Dallas does have some they have some choices that they're going to have to make. So he does seem gettable, which I think is like an important part of this equation.
Yeah.
The potential availability is weighing into this while we're being realistic right now.
So like, I just think that in my mind, any high-end winger is going to be a fit next to Matvei Michkov, because then you just have two dudes who could just essentially score at will. Like, it's kind of like what in the show Alex was saying about Frondell next to Michkov, like having a guy that's like equally good but a little bit different, so that they have like a scoring threat in multiple different ways, I think would be ideal. Honestly, if we could, do anything.
Yeah, I think Marner's a great player. He could certainly, with his skating, take some of the puck carrying load away from Michkov, so that'd be cool.
True.
So I think they would work. Now, the big concern there would be size, and also the fact that Marner is more of a natural right winger than anything. But I think they can make that work. At the very least, wouldn't be a problem in the regular season. Robertson, I like a lot. Obviously, the play driving that should give Michkov more opportunities to attack in the offensive zone, just more possessions, given his hockey IQ, his ability to win pucks back and retain possession. Obviously has the size, not quite super physical, but I think it would work. They're both, Robertson already is a great player. Michkov is a developing great player. One guy, and I don't think this guy would actually be available, but maybe a little off board, because I know who Bill's going to pick. And this is very much a guy who is not off board, because everyone wishes that this guy could be a flyer and be on a line with Matvei Michkov. You know what, Bill? I'm going to let you say him first, and then I'm going to come in with the little off board name after you say this guy's name.
If we're going with Paul's idea of Fantasyland, I want the thing everyone wants. Give me Makachuk creating space, getting to the net, burying the high danger chances that Mish creates, just creating chaos out there. So the guy who can get lost and then suddenly, I have the puck on my stick alone next to the net, boom, while everyone else is trying to face wash Kachuk, I think would be huge. That would be my number one. If you can't get, a McDavid style player, like a top 5 player in the league.
Yeah, I will come in. Look, Chuck, if you could get him on the team, get him on the team. He's one of the best players in the league. Obviously, he's built for the playoffs. He's super fun. He fits the stereotypical flyer way. Get him on the team. He would find a way to be great with Matvei Michkov. A guy who I do think might fit quite well with him, because the one thing he brings to the table that Kachuk doesn't is that Kachuk isn't much of an entry driver. He's not much of a puck carrier. Also, this guy is a natural left winger. I would be intrigued by Matt Boldy. I think that could be a cool fit. Kind of that silky Mikko Rantanen type, creative, can drive play through the neutral zone, but also potentially work very well off Michkov, using his one-timer. I would like that. That would be an intriguing match for me.
How about you, Hank?
I spend so much time thinking about the center that I want with Matvei Michkov that I always just kind of like, it's in my brain, it's just like a guy, and I don't even care who it is really on that other side.
Tyson Forster, for instance.
Right, exactly. I really do hope they try that this year. I really do think there's something there. I think it would be good. Maybe with a little John Tavares down the middle.
Yeah, I think Michkov showed while he's a goal scorer, he wants to put the puck in the net. he was adaptable with the different kinds of line mates he had. And, I'm out here with TK. Maybe I'm going to pass a little more. If I'm out here with somebody else, maybe it's more on me to do other. Like, I think he's adaptable, but a setup guy would be ideal, right? Like a pass first, someone getting the puck on his stick in the high danger areas, because he does have quite a nose for the net. So I guess that style player, if you're just looking for like the perfect complementary piece, that's more in line with what would work best. I'm thinking.
I really would love Mitch Marner to be a Philadelphia Flyer. I like him so much. I feel like he's like, even though obviously a very highly rated player, like somehow also low-key underrated. Like I think Charlie's mentioned it before, like his defensive play is like really good. And I don't know.
Yeah, he gets Selkie votes every year.
Yeah, like I think that would be sick. I just don't want to pay him $14 million. So not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, as I said, if you think Matvei Michkov is going to be a great player, and I think Matvei Michkov is going to be a great player, he will pretty much be good with any other great players. So I'm not going to focus too much on being like, oh, well, it's got to be this type of player. But as I said, I do like the idea of Matt Boldy, because what am I thinking in my head of like what would be the ideal box checks to be with Michkov? Well, I want a very skilled player, checks that box. I'd ideally like a bigger winger. He checks that box. He's not huge, but he's 6'2". He's got size. He's got that Rantanen sort of frame. I want a guy who is a willing and able puck carrier. He fills that void in a way that like a Tkachuk doesn't. I also like the fact that, he's got some experience playing with skilled Russian wingers in Kirill Kaprizov, who he plays with often in Minnesota. So, and also Boldy, while a very, very good point per game player who can both pass and shoot and be really good on the cycle, isn't necessarily a guy who like needs to have his puck on his stick all the time and needs to be puck dominant, because I want Michkov, especially in the offensive zone, to be a puck dominant guy.
I was actually like, as soon as you said Boldy, my brain was like, what if Kaprizov on the other wing? Like, what if we just have like a crazy Russians line of sick goal scorers? That would not be a bad time for any of us.
It certainly would not. All right. Third and final question. And this is honestly, I think, one of the best would you rathers we've ever had. It sparked an argument between the three of us, just like in the group chat last night when I just previewed the question. Dan Knightley asks, would you rather not pay any bills for 10 years or see the Flyers win the Stanley Cup?
I really
fascinating question.
Just because Dan's like friend of the pod at this point, I really want him to know the way that we were like agonizing over the details of this question in a group text last night.
So many different ways to like read it. Like it was, because it does change your answer. If I could turn my 30-year mortgage into a 20, like I'm probably doing that.
Yes, that was my big thing. Like because we are all homeowners, and mortgages are very expensive and a major part of your life once you own a home. Now, if the 10-year pause is just a pause, and once the 10 years are up, I have to go back to finishing out my mortgage, then that's not as attractive to me as if like for 10 years, some random entity pays the mortgage.
Yeah. Do they disappear? That's the question. Like, are they disappeared or are they just like put off for 10 years? Because if they disappear for 10 years, like just thinking about all the things I could do with that money.
Yes.
In my life that would be so much more fun than paying bills. It's astounding. But then also, I really don't want to die with the Flyers having never won a cup in my lifetime. Like,
but here's the question though, and this is another question we'd have to get clarified from Dan Knightley.
Yeah.
Is this an either or of you don't pay bills for 10 years and you know that for those 10 years they will not win the cup, but then after those 10 years and you start paying bills again, the cup is again possible? Or is it you don't have to pay bills for 10 years, but the Flyers then will never win the cup in your lifetime? Because that would be tougher for me to swallow. Hard. But I think I would be willing to sacrifice 10 more years of no cup to have to pay no bills, including my mortgage.
I was going to
10 years.
I know Bill and I are thinking the same thing. Like, honestly, it could be 10 years anyway.
Yeah. Like,
so,
all right. So I think this is the only way to get good answers for the whole thing. Your mortgage pauses. Your 30-year mortgage is still a 30-year mortgage, however much you have, but for 10 years, you don't pay it. All your other bills, your utilities, your car payment, that is just being paid by someone else. All your stuff is still yours.
Okay.
Your lights are on. You can drive, but it's free.
Okay.
The Flyers are completely ineligible during those 10 years to win the Stanley Cup. They're on hiatus. They're like a team. They're like a college football team that's like, yeah, you're not bowl eligible. Even if they have the best record in the league, they can't go to the playoffs. After those 10 years, they are off probation, but like there's no guarantee. They're just eligible as they are right now in the fourth worst team in the league. You know, those are the parameters. Would you rather the 10 years of no bills or see a Stanley Cup in those 10 years?
I would not do it for this reason, because but I would do it if you change one rule. If it was widely known by the world that the Flyers for 10 years have no shot at winning a cup, that there is no chance, that they are not allowed, I would not do it, because then I would likely eventually lose my job, because there's no way that fans would care to follow a team for 10 years knowing there is zero chance. It's the hope that drives everyone. Now, if you could tell me that only I know that they can't win a cup, and that is information that only I know and no one else knows it, then I would probably seriously consider.
So here's the thing for me. If my mortgage is still my responsibility, if I'm still going to have to pay that money eventually, the rest of the overhead in my life is so low. Like, I'm lucky enough not to have any student loans that I have to pay. My car is paid off. I don't have a ton of credit card debt. Like, I live in a tiny condo, so like my utilities aren't very high. The overhead is so low for me that I don't think I would be willing to continue to pay the few $100s that I have to pay outside of my mortgage, and maybe see a cup when I'm still relatively young enough to go full send when they do it. That I would probably not do it. The mortgage is the big one for me. If the amount of money that I pay over the course of 10 years simply disappears from the balance sheet, then I'm doing it. But
yeah, 100% I'm doing it.
Yeah, without the mortgage, I don't know. Yeah.
But like, you do get a 10, like, you can save all that time. Like, think of how much money you'll have at the end. And I'm only making this case because I thought
I would spend it on fun shit. Like, let's be real. Like, I would absolutely not save that money. It would be
I thought I was going to be the only one, because I'm the irresponsible moron, to say Stanley Cup, and it's for one reason. I would blow that money anyway. I would just have more wrestling shirts and more hats and a bunch of dumb stuff, and I wouldn't be any richer. So give me the freaking Stanley Cup. Also, I don't know if I have 10 years left.
William, you absolutely have.
I'm gonna live forever.
I think where I'm at is, and this isn't even me being negative about the Flyers. This is just me looking at it realistically. I don't think the Flyers have a very good chance of winning the Stanley Cup in the next 10 years anyway, just because it's real hard to win a Stanley Cup. Yeah, I think we're definitely talking single-digit percentages, and it's probably on the lower end. So if the question is like, would I sacrifice a 2 to 3% chance to not of a cup anyway to have 10 years without paying bills? Like, yeah. Now, would I sacrifice a 40% chance? No, probably not. But we're not talking about a world where the Flyers are likely to win a cup in the next 10 years anyway. So maybe I'll try to get mine. Why not?
No, and that's like,
they're absolutely winning a cup in the next 10 years. I need everyone listening to understand.
Most teams to win the Stanley Cup, their chances are very, very low over the next 10 years.
Yes, exactly.
The Eastern Conference champion has been 2 teams for 6 years. Like, it's very, very difficult. So, yeah, I have to go cup. I really thought I was going to be the only one to say cup. All right, we are not supposed to take these 20 minutes. Sorry, Tyler, that we've been holding you all this time. But that's all the time we have. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Hit that like button and make sure you go to allphly.com and get your draft party tickets while they last. $5 general admission or $55 gets you an open bar for 3 hours, food, and all sorts of fun. Whichever way you go, make sure you come to Chickies in South Philly Friday, June 27th for the first round of the draft for the BSH PHLY draft party. I'm Bill. That's Kelly. That's Charlie. Let's go Flyers.